Okay, guys, let's wrap this smart carb deal up. Do you want one or don't you? I don't know. I'm not thrilled with it at this point. I'm not thrilled with the company at this point. So, in my case, it's a big expense. And okay, here's what I'm going to warn you on. When I did the final tuning, I actually brought my camera to show you guys what I was doing, but it kind of started to fail, so I gave up on it and just figured I'd summarize like this for you. I had it out on the trails to rip it open to test the top end. What happened was it felt really lackluster because I'd only played around in the yard and it ran pretty good. In my previous videos, you'll see I was like pretty happy with the way it was idling and starting perfect and all that good stuff. But when I got out there to really test the power kind of stunk. It felt like I lost like 10% of the power. It felt like I was in Albuquerque when I ride there and I wasn't rejetted and never was rejetted, and it just was weak. Couldn't really pull up the wheel very good at speed. My top end suffered. Pulling power suffered, everything suffered. So I've always been happy with the cross trainer's power, and I've ridden all sorts of bikes, but I had no issues with it. I'm really into the tight woodsy stuff and crawling and TKO trails, which I just got back from. I did this install because I'm going to a major trip in Colorado in September, and I was dealing with major altitudes, and I did not want to be rejetting. So that was the main reason I did it. Now here's my warning to you. Do a lot more research, read all of their literature. It's not as plug and play and simple as I had naively hoped it would be. And maybe I got unlucky, maybe it is for some people, but I think I had too many variables. This bike has 120 something hours on it and it's never been rebuilt. So I think I made a mistake by putting this on a more used bike. I should have started with a brand new bike that I knew was running absolutely perfectly. And in my opinion, it was running really well with my carburetor on there. I had one little issue that pops up once in a while, a burbly poppiness that I thought was probably just the carb getting a little debris stuck in it and needed cleaning once or twice. But anyway, that being said, the bike was running really good with my OEM carburetor. I've been, very happy with that 99% of the time, other than the fact that when I do go to Albuquerque, which is probably the highest elevation I've ridden this, it is definitely losing power. And I was going to go up to 12,000 plus feet in Colorado, and then I would be really having to rejet and have no power, and who knows what's going on. But so my goal was, again, buy this, plug and play. It does all these wonderful things, better fuel economy. They claim it gives you better power overall. I do not believe that to be true, at least in my case. Again, I could have other variables, so I take full responsibility for putting this on a bike with 120 hours on it. That is probably my fault. So I'm going to scrap the theory for now, maybe back out of this thing on this bike, maybe try it on a new Beta cross trainer that I buy, or almost new. I found one with 3 hours on it, but I also was going to switch right over to a Husqvarna 2024 or newer that has the TBI. Now that would give me all sorts of upgrades. Obviously, I'd get the suspension, I'd get the carb that doesn't need any adjustment. I could do altitudes without screwing around, no jetting. I was going to do both of those things. I thought I had a Husqvarna barely used, but I missed it. Somebody else bought it out from under me. And then I was like, well, even though I might buy the Husqvarna, I still was curious about the Smart Carb to see if it was good as they say it was. And in my opinion, it's not. Some people will get pissed off and say, oh, you just don't know what you're doing. And that's true. But I didn't really want to have to know what I was doing. I was hoping it would be tuned from the factory, very plug and play, minus a few minor adjustments on this dial. I thought this dial was the magic bullet for all my problems. It's not. Apparently, the only thing we can control, just hear this well, the only thing we can control with these external adjustments is the low end, the idle and just off idle, like 3 to 5 miles an hour or something. We cannot control the middle range power and the upper range power at all unless we pull it apart and change the, quote, metering rod. So he put the metering rod he thought best fit this cross trainer in there, the number 11. It's like the AQ11. And apparently sometimes it can take the AQ9, slightly richer metering rod, because maybe I'm at sea level, I'm in Florida, it's really hot, and I need more richness, whatever the case may be. Maybe because my airbox has been opened up, I don't know. But the bottom line is I do believe I'm running powerless in the middle to upper ranges. I don't have the torque, I don't have the pull, I don't have the top speed. Something went wrong. And again, I added too many variables. Maybe the bike's got too many hours and I got other issues now. So I can't completely blame it on the carb, but I'm just going to warn you, the carb is not as simple as they make it out to be. And I don't know if it solves all the problems they say it may solve, but do not, in my opinion, do not put it on any sort of a worn bike that has any possible issues. I did not see this bike as having any issues before I did it because I love the way it ran. However, I am at probably the end of the head's life or the piston's life. And now in hindsight, I really didn't test the top end that much with the OEM carburetor because I'd been running it in the woods the last few times I rode it and it was running fine. And I mentioned to you that I have this kind of poppiness every now and then that pops up, but I always thought it was just a little debris in the carb and I kind of get it cleared out. I was using an octane boost and that was helping it. But anyway, I don't really know what that is. It comes and goes out of the blue and not very often. But anyway, that being said, this thing runs pretty darn good in the low end and everything. But again, I've lost horsepower. I feel like I'm riding at 5,000 feet. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the bike. I don't know if it's my setup. I don't know if it's the carb. I don't know what it is. So advice to you, don't put this on anything but like a brand new bike that you already know is running perfect. And then look at your top end and see if you really still have the power. I don't know. I feel like this thing could be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Maybe it does everything well, including dealing with altitude and better fuel mileage. Maybe I have no way of proving that, and I don't know if anybody else does either. But maybe it doesn't give you all the power that your OEM carburetor gave you when it's jetted correctly at the correct elevations. I don't know, but I just get that sense that it isn't as foolproof maybe as they bill it to be. And I am disappointed with the company. They're kind of they kind of have a short attention span for people like me. I mean, yeah, I read the directions and all this other stuff. And yeah, I didn't really want to become a carburetor engineer and a wizard at this. I wanted to put it on and I wanted to be happy and be done with it because I'm more into riding than I am fixing. I'm a guy that buys a new bike because I don't want to build the top end and I don't want to screw around with old bikes. I want to ride. That's all I'm trying to do is ride. Headache-free riding. I wouldn't even buy two-strokes if I could find a four-stroke that did as good a job in the tight trails as these things do. I never wanted another two-stroke, but I have to admit they're the best thing for hard enduro and for crawling up in tight work. So that being said, be really cautious about the condition of your bike, any issues you may or may not have, and be aware that this is not a silver bullet. It is not as simple as it may seem. It is not as plug and play as it may seem. At least it has not been in my case. The company is very impatient. They don't call you back. They're nice people, don't get me wrong, but they basically told me they don't have time for me and they are super busy. And, they've said that a couple times now, and I thought it was going to get better. That was a month ago because they said they were short-staffed for vacation, but it just seems as though they don't want to deal with somebody who's not a wizard and knows every ins and out of a carburetor. They don't want to deal with somebody who has questions and may not want to read 10 hours worth of material to find the little crumb that they're looking for to solve their problem. They want you to be a pro, I think, that knows what they're doing as a consumer and just pays their $850 or $900 for this thing and never calls them again. Anyway, I was pretty disappointed with their impatience. I did not feel like I was bugging them very much, and they just didn't call me back, and they weren't really that helpful. So that is a cautionary tale for anybody interested in one. You better know what you're doing. You better be self-sufficient. You better understand it upside down, inside and out. And you better have a bike that's dialed in ahead of time perfectly. And if it's not, you will find out quickly. All right, I hope that helps you guys. I know I had some positive aspects to this, and now I'm having kind of a negative aspect to it. The only other thing I can try is that the metering rod that he sent me is too lean, and I could buy another $35 metering rod. This is a piece of metal that's 2 inches long and the size of a big sewing needle that is $35, just a reminder. And that may be solving my problem, or I have to do a top end rebuild and that may help solve my problem, or I scrap the whole idea, go with a brand new Husky or something with a TBI and be done with it. So I may try the needle change just out of curiosity. It bugs me that I can't get this perfect, and I'll go from there. All All right, talk to you guys later. I hope it helps. Again, just know really in detail what you're doing. You cannot assume this is a plug and play, thoughtless process. Take care.